Jones, host of InfoWars Nightly News, and I'm also a documentary filmmaker. And I've been doing a lot of research concerning preparedness because my listeners have been asking me my opinion on it because it's one of the hottest phenomenons in society right now. And that's for good reason. There is a social conscience or social instinct that all is not well in the state of the United States or the world. We see incredible degeneration in our economy thanks to the globalists. We see crime increasing, our prisons filled. We have 90% of the population living in urban areas and are almost completely unself-sufficient. If we have a Great Depression like they had back in the 1920s and 30s, it is going to be absolutely devastating. And so, millions of people a month are buying guns at record levels. They're prepping, they're buying food, they're planting gardens. All of that is great. But an area I don't really hear discussed, or if I do, it's done in a very, thin surface way, is location. Now, I've done enough to move outside Austin, Texas, where I broadcast my radio show. But I understand that I still live just a few miles from a major thoroughfare. And if society has any type of collapse or major disruption, every major city in this country will basically look like New Orleans in a very, very short period of time. And so that's why I personally am getting prepared with solar and with well water and rainwater collection and firearms. But I'm also getting prepared politically out there trying to wake up others so that as these hard times unfortunately get worse because the globalists have engineered it that way, that more people are awake and understand what's happening. Because the social engineers want us dependent on them. They admit that that's their plan. The question is, who's going to make it to that finish line before this accelerated collapse actually takes place and these larger wars they want to start? Now, in the next hour, I want to break down one of the foremost experts out there, Joel Skousen. He's written the book Strategic Relocation. I will put that up on screen, North American Guide to Safe Places, 3rd edition. But I wanted to have a visual guide to the book with the author walking us through this. Now, Joel, of course, his famous uncle wrote The Naked Communist, exposing that powerful elites were funding communism. Joel himself is an author, and he is the editor of the acclaimed World Affairs Brief that breaks down things on a daily and weekly basis. He was also a Marine Corps fighter pilot who made carrier landings at night. We were talking about that before we started taping here today. Maybe at the end he'll talk a bit about that, staring death in the eye, as we all do in one way or another. And as we talk about trying to get prepared and ready for what's already hitting us. You see, people now realize that New World Order globalism is real. And about 2% of the population is now trying to prep. Most experts I talk to say that if 3 to 4 to 5% start to prep, that's going to drive up prices on everything and is going to put prepping and preparation out of reach of a lot of people. So it's important now to start moving in that direction, and hopefully we can reverse the tide of tyranny, and this won't be needed. But if we don't reverse it, it's obviously going to be needed. insurance that is also a way of life and self-sufficiency that all of our ancestors in every culture did just out of hand. I mean, whose grandparents out there didn't have storable food and things like that and kept some money in the mattress? And we call them old fogies. Well, that common sense is coming back into style. So with us is Joel Skousen to walk us through his book in a visual format. And this truly is the secrets of survival from one of the foremost experts. He also is one of the foremost experts in safe homes and consults all over the country and the world. Joel, great to have you here with us.
Good to be with you, Alex.
You've got the floor. Break down what you're going to go over here today.
You know, I got this background on strategic relocation. My original expertise was in high security architecture. I was one of the pioneers in the field, wrote the book, The Secure Home. It's been in print now for 30 years, and it's the Bible of that genre of building. But as I did so and designed and worked with people to help them build homes all over the country and even in some in Central America, I unknowingly became a judge of what was a safe location and what wasn't a safe location. So about 2 years before Y2K hit, I wrote the book Strategic Relocation, the first edition. It's been a long gestation since then. The book has been selling steadily since 1998. But since this new third edition came out, it has all new color maps of every state in the Union, provinces of Canada, all of the regional threats, charts galore. It's the analysis in this book, as well as the graphics, that leads people through a complete understanding of every state, helps them walk through the decision process, because frankly this is not easy. It's not easy because very few people can go and leave their jobs and go out into rural areas where there's safety. In other words, security financially is the antithesis of security in terms of location, because the safest locations are where there's very few people, very rural, and that's the opposite of what you need to have jobs. But what happened in Y2K, I was one of the advisors to Gary North when he was really pushing Y2K, and the world owes a great debt of gratitude to Gary for warning about Y2K. In fact, the establishment laughs at him now, but they took his warning, they fixed most of the problems, and didn't give him credit for the fact that he goaded them into it. But there were a lot of people in Y2K that said the end of the world is coming. I'm bailing out of society, going out to rural. They bought a lot of survival equipment, generators, food stores, etc. And when it didn't happen, it actually did happen. There was about 5 major events that the media covered up. But really the infrastructure stayed together. And about a year later, I started to get calls from people saying, Joel, I hear you do consulting and strategic relocation. I'm out here in Podunksville and I've run out of money. Self-sufficiency turned out to be a lot more expensive than I thought. What do I